Hey there, gang. It's Jack Swan, and Rusty is joining me now. Apparently, he wants something. Um, this is my last day of the week where I set a goal for myself to go live every single day of the week as part of my mind, body, spirit, and community centric lifestyle design that I'm incorporating into my therapy model that I'm going to have used for research. Hopefully, if it gets published. It's called a goal-directed cognitive behavioral therapy, and it's something that I came up with just to kind of help myself as I went through some pretty difficult periods of depression during residency, and got me to a low point, and got me to do some things that I don't regret because it got me here, and now I'm able to at least think with that experience. We don't always want to go through the negative experiences to learn what's been done in the past, but sometimes that's exactly what we need. Right, Rusty? What are you saying? What are you saying? So, since it is my last day, I just wanted to say, it's been a lot of fun. I've learned a lot about being vulnerable and how powerful that can actually be for people. And there might be someone at the door. Pausing the live feed. I'm going live right now, but they're downstairs in the laundry room. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm back. That was just my contractor who was over yesterday, and he forgot a bag here, so he swung by to pick that up. Anyways, like I was saying, things that I've kind of learned over the week about being vulnerable and how powerful that kind of is as a practice. The more uncomfortable that we feel in certain situations, or if there is a situation that we feel we're not suited for, I would challenge you to actually just try it. See if that thought is true, and see if whatever negative emotion you've paired with that experience, if you can take yourself to that emotional state when you're not experiencing that thought pattern, and just start to recognize how our thoughts kind of drive our emotions. And then in doing so, in the future, when you're experiencing a certain emotion, you'll have better foresight as to what exactly your tendencies are, which are unique to you. So no one else is going to be able to tell you that. It's something that is developed by our brains, because our brains are brilliant. At least mine is, for sure. No. But that practice, that Dr. Michael Gervais, that's Gervais, is his Gervais, I think. He was awesome to listen to, and I strongly recommend looking up some of his stuff on how you can pair emotional drivers to react, or kind of to channel how we're going to behave in certain situations and react. We're in a country that is all temporary reward, temporary gain centric. It's not, we've gone away from the investor mindset where, save up and build stores, and then, rise to thrive, because that thriving is not a part of our survival mechanism. Our survival mechanism is more at the level of, fight or flight. Like, am I safe right now? Should I be safe? Someone just knocked at my door. I don't know who that is. I live so close to Detroit. It could be someone here to do me harm, but it was my contractor. I'm actually having him go through these worksheets that I've created for this course using Airbnb, because I just believe that community is like one of the biggest things that we're missing as society, as far as like the puzzle piece that connects us all and really provides kind of a more whole and more centered version of health for ourselves. Doesn't mean that you got to be perfect. Doesn't mean that it's just like a tool, something that you can get involved with that could improve your life by doing so. So those are some of the things that I learned. Here is my board where I have my mind, body, and spiritual goals that are daily goals that I set for myself for the week, because in order for you to be the best or a 5-star listing Airbnb, you first got to be, all right in here. Because if you're not all right in here and you don't love yourself, you're not going to be able to love anybody else. So getting to that point of love and acceptance for yourself, and seeing even your weaknesses and your deficits in character, in personality trait, or in looks, or whatever it is that is holding you back, that's, I would encourage you to try to see that as, hey, maybe that's not such a negative thing. Maybe that's just me, and that's okay. If it's good enough for God, it's good enough for me. God accepts us for who we are, so why can't we accept ourselves, or each other for that matter? Questions. Hi everyone. I see people are joining in. It's good to see people. So now I'm done with week 2 of this mind, body, spiritual strategy. I've missed two total days at the gym. So I'm about to go to the gym right now. I have my sweatpants on, but I threw on a collared shirt for the video because can't be seen wearing a t-shirt on Facebook Live. But at the beginning of my first week, I rated like my body. I go through creating a daily goal that I want to achieve in each category. And then I rank each category based on how I subjectively feel I would score in like a mind pursuit, or my mental capacity. Am I challenging my mental capacity to the point that it needs to be better or for improvement? Or am I just like, just, am I fine where I'm at? Which anyone who's fine with where they're at, they're lying to themselves. We're never going to be fine where we're at. Our brain and our body, we just have this natural desire to explore. We want to explore our environment. We want to explore all these different emotions. We want to explore all these different feelings. But society kind of hinders us and limits us on thinking that that's possible. When it can be possible, even without doing some of the behaviors or the negative consequences, experiencing those for yourself firsthand of, something that wouldn't be as healthy for you specifically. So after you come up with your daily goal for each day, then I just did a sticker board, because this goes back to my childhood, something that we did for our chores list. And since it's tied to my childhood, it's like, it's in there. That works for me. This works for me. This might not work for everybody. whatever has worked, or whenever you were in a place or you had that feeling of like total connectedness with what you were doing and control over, things made sense to you. Go take yourself back to that place, and then try and focus on what you were doing then. It doesn't matter if you were 5 years old. If things made sense to you at 5 years old, then recognize, like, why did things make sense then? And now I don't have a grasp on anything. This is coming from a guy who, a year and a half ago, I could barely get out of bed. I didn't think that I would see another happy day. I didn't think that I'd wake up and be grateful for anything. But now I wake up every day and I'm like, wow, it's a great day to be alive. I get another shot at just living and being and impacting and interacting with my environment. And that's huge. And give yourself a pat on the back when nobody else will, because society, I don't know. It's just kind of like, it's a survival instinct. We put each other down so that we don't face rejection as bad, or our mind is just like scared of getting hurt by other people's opinion so much that it's like, no, you can't, or you shouldn't do certain things because that'll affect the way that your peers or people will think or view you. When really, the more vulnerable you can be, that's challenging capacity. That's challenging growth, and that's how you will, improve. So at the end of each week, then I go through an assessment period or a reflection, because that's something that we did in Cuba. At the end of each day, we would actually have a reflection period of, what was working for, or what did we learn today? What were some of the limitations of the healthcare system that we witnessed in Cuba? And how can we improve upon that? Or how can we bring what they're doing here back to the US and educate our colleagues, But so I'm doing a reflection at the end of each week. Last week for my body exercise, where I just prioritized just getting on a treadmill, just going to the gym and getting on a treadmill, that's it. But now I've, like, every single day that I've gone to the gym, I've worked out at least like 3 different muscle groups, and I've been on the treadmill for over 30 minutes each time, and I'm like running full miles, and it's only been 2 weeks. So definitely doable if you use something that works for you. You got to figure out how you learn the best, and how to implement that into the strategies that you incorporate into your day-to-day. So I stuck with the same strategy for this upcoming week. Was the sticking to go to the gym daily and just get on a treadmill. That was for this last week. And my mind, instead of learning Arabic, I switched that to going live daily, which I've successfully done every day except one day, which boo-hoo for me. I mean, couldn't I have just made one more attempt there? Oh well, next time I'll do better. There's always room for improvement. Look at things on the positive. So much of our negativity in our culture and our day-to-day is affected by just our own perception. And perception is something that we can control. And we can train how to have a more positive perspective. For me, that was just having like little Bible verses that were God's promises for any believer or anyone really in the Bible that are accessible if you claim that as truth. Like, that's my truth. I'm going to take that. God's anointing people. I want anointing. Not that, not that that means anything to other people. Maybe that means that you're insane to other people. But it doesn't matter, because you're trying, you're interacting, you're gaining from your environment. So that is very important. So then for this upcoming week, and my spiritual practice is just reading my 1 Year Bible daily, which is an Old Testament reading, a New Testament reading, a Psalm, and a proverb. And you can access that on oneyearbibleonline.com. But for this upcoming week, I switched it up, because I noticed that this last week it just became too monotone. And our mind is going to want to, it's going to want to keep on exploring and jumping around. So if if we're not giving it that in our daily routines, yes, or routines are great. Yes, organization and structural strategies and building systems, they make your life a lot easier. But if you don't invite change into your life or change into your routine, then you're just going to be like, you're going to be bored, and your mind's going to be bored, and your mind's going to be like, I want to wander, I want to explore things. And then you're going to be like, no, we have a routine. This is what we do. And that's not necessarily good, because inviting change promotes growth. Growth can only come from change. So try and invite change into your life, just like little ways. And that's part of the therapy model that I came up with too. It's self-acceptance, self-awareness, organizational and structural strategies, and system-based learning into your day-to-day, and then inviting change, promoting growth, reaching kind of more of a collective understanding of your day-to-day. But now I'm like all gung-ho on this community thing, which I think is really like the fourth aspect that we're missing between the mind, body, and the spirit. Unless you see like the spirit is kind of all-encompassing with the energy and community. But I think that we need to make, at least for right now, for society, community needs to be a priority. It needs to have its own category. So this week, my daily mindful or my daily mind strategy is going to be just to practice a mindful meditation daily, because it's a really powerful tool that we can use, just training our minds to be more connected with our emotions, and seeing how our emotions can drive us to certain tendencies. Like, either like when you're angry, you're like really spontaneous on decisions, and you say shit that you don't like that. Like I didn't want to say shit. It's not very like nice. But if you're spontaneous whenever you're feeling a certain emotion, like I just did when I was trying to like wrap up the video, was that angst, that anxiety I just blurted out a swear word. Not necessary, but now I know. So training your mind with that, with meditation, is actually powerful practice that I'm going to start doing daily for at least 8 minutes is what the recommended like dose is for the effective dose, the minimal effective dose. But they say anywhere between 8 and 28 minutes, and usually more is better when it comes to stuff like that, I think. Next, for my daily spiritual practice, I always read my 1 Year Bible, or like I start my day off with, the Bible, just because that's where I draw like knowledge. I just like soak that stuff up. I think that it's so good for me. But for you, it might just be like a reminder of like, all the people who told you that you were like being abolished to hell when you were growing up or something, and that's not right. And I'm sorry that you went through that. But salvation was free and everyone's forgiven. So any believers, we need to get on the same page here a little bit. But anyways, to each their own. We're all on our own spiritual paths. So if you want to pray to a rock, pray to a rock. At least you're engaging your spirit. Just have a spiritual practice daily that you can achieve, and that's, you know, not too difficult to do. So my Bible reading takes like 15 minutes. This new goal that I have is just right when I wake up in the morning, I want to find or think of 3 things that I'm grateful for, just right off the bat. Wake up, whether that's, you know, I'm glad that I'm warm underneath these sheets when there are people outside who are sleeping on the streets without sheets, a home, or anything for that matter. If that's one of them, I'll take it. If it's just being alive that day, I'll take it. If anything else comes up, like family and, you know, health and wellness and well-being, and there are so many things that we have to be grateful for. Definitely, I don't care how bad your year has been. If you've had a terrible, terrible year, I guarantee you that probably more good things have still happened to you than bad things. Because that's just, it's just we don't recognize, we don't give it credit where credit is due. And then my daily body routine is going to be practicing stretching or yoga. So I'm going to do 15 minutes a day of that to kind of switch up my exercise routine from the treadmill. As much as I love reading on the treadmill, I can still read probably when I do yoga. And I just haven't done yoga or like done a whole lot of stretching. And sometimes, you know, when you're super sore after a workout, that's a good thing to do. And I figure I can kill 2 birds with 1 stone by doing the yoga or the stretching and also like the daily mindful meditation. So that's kind of cutting corners, but whatever. And then for community, I just want to do one good thing for my community, whether that's like mowing the lawn for my neighbor, or in this case, shoveling snow for my neighbor, or raking up leaves for someone down the road, or helping out a blind person across the street. Whatever it is, as long as you prioritize like one and then stick to that. So that's what I'm going to be doing for the next week. And I'm not going to be going Facebook Live. Excuse me. But that's, you know, Facebook Live, this has been like a lot of fun to do. And I've learned a lot by re-engaging with social media platforms. Now I've hired a company to do that for me, for Instagram at least. And then I'm trying to just really focus on getting this course done, which is turning into another book. And I'm trying to simplify everything that I can on the Airbnb platform, because it's such a complex network and webbing of a corporation. But really, to the core, it's such a good thing for communities and bringing communities together. That I'm just all for it. So if you would like to subscribe to our email newsletters, or even sign up for different sessions, meeting one-on-one with me, those are things that I'm going to kind of offer down the road, especially with the course offering. But right now I'm just coming up with like all of the content that I need to provide for you guys, so that it's actually like even something worth investing in. Because I don't want to sell something that's just like a bunch of hogwash BS. I almost swear it again there, but I was mindful. So go be mindful, go be great, and I'll see you guys whenever I go live again. I don't know. Otherwise, have a great weekend. I'm getting out of town, and I'm having my contractor actually as a co-host to run my listing, which I'm kind of freaking out about, but I assured my guests that they would still have an awesome hosting experience, because that's what I expect from you, Chris, if you're listening or watching somewhere. But anyways, okay. Have a great weekend. Happy Friday.